Welcome to the Linux Saloon, a place to discuss tech, open source, and where Windows is always on tap. Each show will have a talk about a Windows project, such as a Windows distribution. That doesn't even make sense. I can't keep that up. A Linux distribution, a desktop environment, or application. We also chat about the news or any variety of topics from the community, anything that's Linux, tech, and open source related is on the table for discussion. I'm Nate, Linux fitness and vintage tech enthusiast with an almost unhealthy obsession with the OpenSUSE project. And with me today, I got Chris, Penguin, Brian, Jinda, Colin. I got Baby Girl Linux and Dr. Linux on the phone as well as Terry. How is everybody?
Excellent.
Great.
I've been very good.
I almost didn't unmute you. I didn't. I almost messed that up, but I didn't. And then I just screwed up the flow of the show. Way to go. Well, be sure to do the straw poll. It's a fun straw poll. I don't know if you guys have ever built anything or got some hardware and got some stickers with it. So it's when you're it's kind of about that. What do you do with those stickers that you get with hardware when you build a computer? So if you knock that out, that'd be pretty cool. On the docket for today, it's a news flight night, so we're going to talk about that. What's on coming up next week? Do a little housekeeping, and then we'll do the last call. But first, I'm doing a Linux and tech. Jinda, you said you had an interesting situation happen at work where you...
Yeah, everybody who was logged in was fine at work, but if you logged out, you could not log back into the Windows server. And evidently, it took them, the IT company, 11 hours to figure out that they blamed it on an update, which my question was to everybody, did anyone hear about this? Because I think they just decided to say that. Sorry, I'm not trying to be judgmental. I mean, to me, they should have said what it was, and blaming it on an update to me just didn't.
Maybe the server was connected over AT&T.
That was the other thing. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
That's a good point, because AT&T had some outages. There were some other hospitals, I guess, had some cyber attacks as well at the same time. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if they're all related. Maybe.
Yeah, I'm wondering.
Yeah.
AT&T said that it wasn't cyber related.
They said they didn't, but the hospitals were, or I should say the medical, I can't remember the name, what it was exactly, but those were cyber related. They actually disconnected from the internet because of attacks and whatnot. So.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So make sure you do your updates this weekend or Monday. So when you have to, pull your vulnerability reports, make sure you put them all in the groovy little system that tells you everything that's needs to be updated. Right, Brian?
Yeah, but when I do my Linux updates, I don't cringe like I do in Windows.
Well.
Yeah. It's true.
Sorry, I don't know if you guys cringe. I cringe every time I do a Windows update.
No, for Windows, I always cringe. On my Linux machines, I always forget to update them until Discord tells me it's my lucky day. I'm like, oh, I have to update my computer.
Yeah, it's fun.
I just have automatic updates on, so it automatically just updates my computer all the time.
Yeah, I don't. I like to review my updates every time, see what's actually being updated. Although I didn't really pay close attention this last time when one machine was 3,000 some odd updates, so I thought I'd just let that one go.
I just love blindly just hitting update and just update. It's great.
It's roll the dice, see what happens here.
That's it.
I'm guilty of doing that, wanting to see what's going to be downloaded first before I do it. And then sometimes I'll just tack Y on there and just say, do what you're going to do,
Yeah, it almost always works out. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Unless you're running a rolling release.
No,
I am.
I had to.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. I like to live on the edge.
Well, absolutely.
That's more fun that way.
Exactly.
If computers should be fun, that's why. So if you can't have a little fun, bite a few nails off in the process. I mean, what's the point, really?
That's right.
Nibble on your cuticles a bit. Good times. All right, so I guess we'll get right into the straw poll. So Eris is not here tonight. He said he couldn't make it. He said he had more important things to do. No, he didn't say that at all. He just said he couldn't make it. But truly, if you're spending time with us, like here, over family, you should, probably check yourself a little bit. Unless you don't like
Or
our
just-
family.
Sorry, family.
Or
Yeah.
just
Sorry,
get new
family.
family.
So anyway, so the straw poll: do you use stickers that come from the computer parts when building a PC? So I imagine all of you here have at least at one point in time got a piece of hardware or something that came with stickers. Perhaps you upgraded your modem to that 56K modem you always wanted, and you got that US Robotics sticker.
He's compatible.
Oh yeah, Hayes compatible. Oh, that was exciting. It makes like sweating bullets there before you open up the box, right?
I actually met that guy.
Hayes.
Yeah, he told me he made no money on it. He told me I got nothing for it.
Oh man, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, he said nobody cared. No one cared.
Yeah. What do you mean Hayes compatible anyway? I don't remember.
It was some protocol, I think, that
Mm.
this guy developed, and somehow it stuck. And
This is probably some years back, but I dug into like the research. Like sorry, not dug into the research. I dug into like how is it that modems actually work, and the way they negotiate is actually a really cool process. So at some point in time, after the show's done, you should look into just look up about modems and how they work, how they negotiate. It's really pretty cool. Like how both sides will like try and get the best speed and not what the different sounds actually mean as it goes through the process. So anyway, I thought it was pretty neat. So
well, years ago, to get a Windows computer to work with a modem, they really weren't modems. They were boxes that were drivers. So when you put them into Linux, they didn't work.
yeah, the Win modems.
Yeah, they really didn't work. And the modem I had was a converted sound card. It was a sound card just with an adapter to go to a phone line.
Yep.
And a
That's
driver.
that turned me off of Linux originally back in like the 90s.
Yeah,
I just
that's why I did it. Yeah.
could not figure out how to get online. That's what it ended up being. But
Yeah, when I got the Win modem, this is like back in my Mandrake Linux days, and I think I've told this story like probably a dozen times now, at least a half dozen, I'm sure. But when I got that Win modem to work in Mandrake Linux, I got it to work like for a short period of time, and that's for the reason I had to like reinstall Mandrake Linux because I screwed something up and I couldn't figure it out, and I could never get that Win modem working again. Like even though I followed the same steps and procedures, I just didn't. But when it did work, that was exciting. When I finally got the right, it was like a Win modem website that had like Linux drivers and such they get for your different things, different devices, and I still have that laptop even. It's an old. Nope, I don't have that laptop anymore. Never mind. Anyway, Win modems. They made I was really happy when broadband like Wi-Fi and Ethernet became like a normal thing. That really solved all my modem problems. All right, so do you use stickers that come from computer parts when building your PC? So if you have not voted yet, Mandrake Windows, yes. I'll refresh this one more time. All right, so the number one answer at 1/3 of the votes came in at other, and I'll check the replies on that. Then 4 votes for I have never considered using them. Oh, okay, someone just voted. Thank you. So still about a third for other, and then 1/4 of the votes were I've never considered using them. Tux Penguin came in third place at 18.75%, and then 12.5% said yes, I put them on a new computer, and then last place at also 12.5%, I guess it's last. I put them on non-computer related things. So that is that's what it kind of boils down to. And so some of the responses I got, or received, I should say, is normally, yeah, but I haven't been because I need a new case and I already have 20 stickers to transplant. Says, I chose other in the poll. I don't usually use the stickers, but I have used Windows Vista sticker for the first Raspberry Pi that I owned. Oh, that's precious. I like that. I think I've put my framework stickers on non-framework things. I think I decorated up a laptop for a maintenance supervisor at my place of employment, and I did use the framework stickers on the dock to make it all kind of match. It's really pretty precious, actually. I did put it in the Telegram group. Did anyone see that picture? I think Brian, you saw that picture.
Yeah. It was funny.
Yeah. So I wanted to give the new maintenance feller, and I'm gonna put it on here. If I was better prepared, I could probably just like shifted the OBS thing over. But this is what I did for the new maintenance supervisor. He absolutely well, actually, he owns it now. Like he feels like it was the it's his. So, but anyway, he's kind of one of those manly men kind of guys, and so I just it felt like it was just a good fit. So, anyway, good times. But he got a framework. I think that's 8 now in the company.
So in other words, you're very happy with them.
Yes, and people like them. I think the only complaint I had, well, I had 2 complaints. One was someone went from an X1 carbon to that, did notice less battery life. But I think we did some tweaking and it's fine now. And the other complaint was because it's a higher resolution screen, the issue was now her other screens look blurry. So I'm not really sure how to solve for that last one.
Yeah.
Like she has 1080p screens, but apparently that's not good enough anymore when you got a whatever the framework is. What do you do about that? Is that something you do? Is that solvable? I mean, I don't
Yeah, make the screen that's good bad.
We can't do that.
Well, it would solve the problem.
Yeah.
Now they're all the same.
Yeah. So what about here? Does anybody? What do you guys do with your stickers that you get from buying computer hardware?
They go on my garbage laptop.
Oh,
I
Yeah.
go ahead. Go ahead, Colin.
never really put stickers on, to be honest. But I've got this nut here that's got the skull embedded into the top there. That looks cool.
That's cool. Yeah, I like receiving stickers. I don't know why. I'm a grown man and I still like stickers.
So I like having the stickers. I've just never really ever stuck stickers onto things. And I don't know why. Like my wife is a very big sticker person. So if I give her my stickers, they'll go onto her dresser or her water bottle or whatever. But you know.
If it's not an open SUSE sticker, I don't usually put it on something. I think that's like I need to learn to do like graffiti art with like spray cans and like start tagging buildings with a big SUSE logo. That's what I need to start doing.
Nah, bit too obvious. Don't know who it is.
Or I'll just tag my building then. I'll practice on it. That will do that. On the backside, so they can't see me practicing. What about you, Jinda? Do you put stickers on anything?
Just my laptop, my
Yeah, just
crappy one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, that's what you said. You
it's
said that already, yeah.
Yeah, throwaway laptop. That's what I do with it.
Yeah, that's fun. Anybody here? Terry, Dr. Linux, Swift?
Right, I'll put sticker on my cell phone
Okay.
in the back of it. Okay.
Chris, you put stickers on things? Are you one of those guys that puts like stickers all over your back window of your car? No?
Oops. Oh, no. I mean, mine's that little box like you see at the hospitals, the little computers.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't really put a lot of stickers on it. So, no. What do you call those? Small form computers?
Small form
Something like
factor.
Yeah,
that?
small form
Yeah.
factor. Yeah.
Yeah, it's only like that big.
Yeah, is it an Intel nut? Is it or something like that?
It's a Lenovo Think Center.
Oh, Lenovo.
Mhm.
Right, okay.
Those are pretty nice.
Lenovo.
Yeah.
It came with 10 Pro on it. Ban. I know. Ban. Yeah.
Yeah. We
Yeah.
all have to use some things we don't necessarily like from time to time.
True.
So Swift, you cover up the Gateway logo with your Linux stickers. Is that your plan?
God, they still make gateways.
That's actually an idea. I just picked this up Friday.
I didn't know they
Sweet.
still made gateways. Oh, that's
Yeah, I
just-
didn't either.
So this actual machine is one of those Walmart specials.
Oh, okay.
Um,
So
So I got a real little thing.
so is Gateway kind of a ghost brand now then? Just kind of a shell of what it is, just a label at this point?
Pretty much.
Yeah, that's too bad.
right.
Remember in the late 90s, early 2000s, they were like the computer to get. That and Packard Bell.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yes, we all had them.
Yeah.
You had to make payments on those. That was like the gateway was like the Rolls Royce.
Yeah.
You know.
I just like the
Yeah.
Gobble logo. Back when they were Gateway 2000, they were way cooler.
Mm-hmm.
Taking it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, very cool. I got like some AMD stickers. I guess I could have put on my computer build here, but I don't like to necessarily sticker things up too much. I guess I remove stickers from hardware, but never really put them on. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe just me.
My laptop is covered in them.
So
Most of them are. Yeah.
You know,
So-
I've never done that. No, I've done labels on laptops, but not really stickers.
okay.
Huh.
So I see Linux aficionado says Gateway brand was bought by Acer, I think. So
Acer.
no.
That sounds right.
Yeah, that sounds like I think it wasn't like Gateway gobbled up by somebody else who gobbled up by somebody else, like the fish got gobbled, the big fish, bigger fish, bigger fish, bigger fish. That
Somebody
whole,
was on-
it's one of those things.
Who remembers the commercials? Dude, you're getting a Dell.
Yeah, I remember those.
Yes.
And Dell's still kicking.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
was-
Dell's.
Yeah, they're still kicking.
Yeah,
Mhm.
for sure.
Oh
They
yeah.
own Alienware. That's what pretty much keeps them alive. So
I
I
think
think they got the enterprise
yeah,
space
the enterprise
too.
space. Yeah, that's where they make their money. They don't make money on consumer stuff. They have
And
to
so, wasn't the CEO of Gateway the governor of Michigan for a while?
Oh Lord.
I don't think so.
Rick Snyder.
Was he? No, I thought he was like Amway or something.
I'm pretty sure he was the CEO of Gateway. Well, look it up.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I mean, if
The go-
if so, that'd be pretty funny.
the governor of unpure Michigan.
Might have been up here for a while.
Yeah, it's not getting any better.
Dang.
Dude, they've got trees, so it's
Yeah.
not all bad.
Just don't drink the water unless it's bottled.
Oh, he
Well,
served
that's
as
in Flint.
president
Yeah.
and chief operating officer from 1996 to 1997. Remained on the board of directors until 2007.
Wow.
And that had to have been around the. No, maybe it was more like 2010 or 2012 when he was governor.
Yeah, I think so. Huh. That's. Yeah, I don't know. Like, do you want to be the guy that like sells your company out to somebody else? That seems like that's the. Maybe that's not. Maybe he wasn't involved in that. I don't know. But anyway.
I wish we could post edit this and put in the NBC. The more you know, because we just found that out.
That's pretty
Yeah.
cool. That's actually
Uh-huh.
that's a neat revelation right there.
Yeah.
So that's not going to be ready the 19th. Hold on.
Oh, maybe that wasn't directed toward us. Anyway,
No.
does
No.
anybody here remember Zenith computers? Zenith Data Systems?
Ooh.
Yeah, that
Yes.
was a long time ago.
So they were based out of St. Joseph, Michigan, which is very close to where I live. And they're no longer a thing. But I remember they were once a really big employer in the area. And they were bought by Packard Bell. I think Packard Bell was then bought by Compaq. And then Compaq bought by HP. And there's nothing Zenith in the area anymore. And I was actually looking online to see if there's any kind of like Zenith documentary out there. There's nothing. And I know people that did work at Zenith. And I think it'd be fun to put something together there, but I'm not really sure. I don't know if a Cubicle Nate documentary would be all that great, but I would like to put something together on that. just because it's actually a very interesting history, I think.
Man, I was just reading about those the other day. I don't remember who they were bought by, but I remember having Zenith TVs when I was growing up.
Yep, I think it was a different
Yeah.
company. I think it was
I
a
had one.
division of a different something. Yeah, I think everyone had a Zenith at one time. We had a black and white.
Oh, LG bought them out.
The Zenith TV, or
Well, Zenith.
well, there's two different Zenith. There was the appliance portion, and then there was the home electronics, and there was then the computer, Zenith Data Systems. They broke up.
Oh,
They split apart at some point in time.
I
No,
yeah. I mean, I guess I don't know then. It just says Zenith Electronics.
Yeah, because
no.
Zenith Data Systems were actually like a merger with Packard Bell and Compaq or something like that, and then they were of course purchased by HP later on. So
No, Nate, you can't be that old. A black and white TV? No.
yeah, in fact I had I wish I still had it. It was a wood grain 13-inch. I think it was 13-inch.
I still have mine. It's
Wow.
over there.
Yeah, like had knobs on it. I remember
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
the black and white's still sitting over there.
putting it on channel
Yeah.
50 so I could watch UPN network and watch Star Trek: The Next Generation in black and white.
Mhm.
Remember that's
Oh
how
my
out of
God.
Chicago, yeah.
Yeah, UPN 50.
Wow.
Yeah, you know that, huh?
Yeah. No, UPN 50.
That's awesome. Did you get it up there where you lived in West Michigan? Also,
I was living in East Michigan then, but yeah, I got it there.
really
Yeah.
Huh.
hot dog. The more you know.
I remember back in the day.
Do, do,
I
do,
was
do.
I remember back in the day. I was the original remote control. You know that?
Oh yeah.
Here was the kid. Don't change the channel. Turn up the volume. Yeah.
Were we talking about the clicker here on Linux Saloon some years back?
Oh, the magnetic ones?
Yeah, where actually they made it the noise that actually
Yeah,
triggered
clunk.
the TV. Yeah,
Kerchunk, kerchunk, kerchunk.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it's pretty wild.
that is.
Anyway, all right. Well,
We
go ahead.
we had the big heavy long wooden TV. You know, it was in the case.
Mhm. Yep.
Oh my God, that thing was heavy.
Yeah,
I
they're-
forget what you call those consoles. Yeah.
I think entertainment centers. I think is what they call them.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, it was just a TV in this big, long, square box, and it was heavy to lift. It was like solid oak or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's before they used particle board.
But that was in the 80s though.
Yeah, I think they made this.
Yeah.
Yeah, those things are pretty cool. I mean, I think like when I was a kid in the '80s, I thought they were old fashioned. But I think like today, I would want one of those things today. If someone said, "Here's an entertainment center, do you want it?" I think I would get it just because.
And you know that
Yeah.
thing would probably still be working today.
Probably it had
Mhm.
tubes in it. Probably some pretty awesome tubes.
Yeah, too.
If you got-
Tubes, yeah.
If you get a slightly later model, you could get built-in VHS storage.
Ooh,
Ooh.
yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, did it have one of those like VCRs that had like the top would open up? It was like
The
You
Betamax.
just close them down.
yeah. You push down to
The
close it.
Beta. Yeah, the Beta.
Yeah, those are fun.
Before my time.
Not before mine.
Not before mine.
Yeah, I remember. The memory's a little fuzzy, but I remember there was an uncle that had everything was beta there, and I couldn't understand why we couldn't borrow their tapes for our VCR. So,
Yep.
ooh, sharp. Looks
Does
like
that look
Sharp.
familiar?
looks like it's been through war.
I've
I
had
did-
it given this by an older couple. It actually will come on if I plugged it in. I just forgot where the plug is that I did it with.
Does it
I
run?
thought Sharp only made microwaves. I did.
I'm sure they make some other things.
Here
too.
in the. Oh.
Or is that sharp
Even got
image?
this
Nice.
thing.
Oh, I remember those.
Yeah, those are
What
fun.
is. What is that, a
PCM
modem?
No, PCM. Well, it was a PCM CIA, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
later called
Yeah.
PC cards, but yeah, they had I can't
What does
remember
that do?
That's a wireless G card. So those are your wireless NIC.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's what connected to the Wi-Fi.
Yep. I had a
Oh.
a GSM modem for my laptop. I was in the early or in the 2000s, in the aughts. That was pretty handy. Used that for quite a
So
while.
this is from the Windows XP era. It's an AMD XPM. Whatever that-
GSM, that means it ran off the towers, right?
Yep. This is before
Okay.
before 2G or whatever, or maybe it was 2G. I can't
Ooh.
remember. Or about the time
Ooh.
of 2G, before 3G. Yeah, it was good times.
So Edge,
yeah, I think so.
Edge,
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. Something like that. I
right?
can't remember exactly, but that was like,
Because I
getting
want to.
that working in Linux. That was also fun. KPPP, I think, is what I used for dialing into that, and you had to like send the ADT commands to get all the negotiation to happen.
Because I want to say it went what 2G Edge and then 3G. No.
Yeah, there's a 2.5G in there somewhere. That could have been Edge.
Oh.
I don't really remember, but yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah. hmm
I just remember when we got 3G. I'm like, wow, the internet's fast.
Holding your little Nokia brick phone.
Was it probably like, I was actually like my first generation iPhone is what it was. The very first iPhone.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I had the 4G was my first one. Then I went to the 5, and then I switched away back to Android.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of, we should probably go to the news flight now, I guess, at this point. So, speaking of issues with Microsoft, I think that we talked about a little bit earlier here from Jinda. It looks like it's Microsoft's latest email breach is calling into question their IT security as a heavyweight. So the access and early breaches from Microsoft could have been prevented, according to Wyden, a U.S. Senator, Ron Wyden. One main thing is that the intruders got in through the old testing environment, seemingly with no multi-factor authentication in the way. Redmond also warned there may be some disruption to its systems as it shores up security of its legacy IT estate and brings all that up to the same level of defenses as the rest of its empire. It is inexcusable that Microsoft still hasn't required multi-factor authentication, which is cybersecurity 101, and would have prevented this latest attack, Wyden told the Register. This is yet another wholly avoidable hack that was caused by Microsoft's negligence, he added. The U.S. government needs to reevaluate its dependence on Microsoft. One such privacy breach might be enough to sink a software maker, or at the very least render its name synonymous with cyber intrusion. But Microsoft seemingly remains immune. Instead, it keeps winning government and enterprise contracts, with security business revenue topping $20 billion last year. It remains one of the largest cybersecurity vendors on the planet, if not the largest. I know they're kind of toe-to-toe with Apple right now, for what it's worth. So, I use Microsoft products, Microsoft Office products, because I have to. Is anybody here? Said Jinda, you have through work, you probably use them.
Yeah, we have no choice.
Yep.
Autodesk Inventor doesn't run on Linux.
So this affected Exchange, not Hotmail and all that, just Exchange basically.
Let me dig into a little bit. Let me see if I can find the.
Because I'm reading it too, but I didn't see anything if it was just Exchange-based accounts or, because Rackspace had the same thing happen. They took hostage of everybody's Exchange accounts.
Oh,
For a long
for like hosted Exchange.
Yeah, hosted Exchange.
Yeah.
And nobody could access their emails unless they had them like cached in Outlook or whatever for a long time.
It doesn't say what exactly was affected, and they probably don't want to let you know either.
Right.
Oh, it seems like the hosted Exchange has a lot more issues overall than like Office 365 does.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I think part of that is probably because if someone were to breach Office 365, Microsoft's teams are able to address that immediately. Where if you're hosting your own Exchange server, all of the system administrators around the world that are hosting those have to take care of it themselves.
Right.
Gotcha. Well, that's rather. I mean, it's very disconcerting. I didn't notice any issues in any disruption of business. I think, but Jinda, you mentioned that I wonder if your issue is related to that at all.
Yeah, it very well could have been, because if you logged out of the email, you could not get back in. And they said it was some Windows update and an error on their protocol or something, but
Which, if
I
they were,
really don't know what it was.
if they were cleaning up some of the issues that could have affected your ability
Yeah.
to. Do you use Office 365 or do you host? Is it
It's
self-hosted?
hosted, but they do have an Office 365 system if you want to use the email web client Outlook.
Okay.
So they got to have, I think they have both, right, for that? Or some part of both.
I don't know. That might be a Brian question.
Yeah.
No, I know there's a hybrid, but I don't know
Yeah,
how that
okay.
works exactly.
Yeah, I'm not sure how it works either. I don't know how it works, but I know I can log in online to Outlook.
OWA. Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if that's what killed. I don't know if it was that part that killed it, but I know once you logged out, you couldn't log back in.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, hopefully they get it cleaned up because, like it or not, they're kind of one of those important tech companies out there. I would actually like it if the giants weren't quite so giant. That there was some more competition out there. That'd be nice. But I think yeah, it is. What can you do? I guess.
I like Excel. I don't know. That might be weird, but
Nope.
I like it.
I will say, so Excel, because of the Visual Basic part of it, you can do some really cool things. I don't know if you've played with Visual Basic in Excel, but like there's some, I've made some pretty great tools using Excel because of that whole piece of it. So
I've heard that they're working towards embedding Python.
really, that would probably
modernize it a bit.
That'd probably open it up to like if LibreOffice could probably pull that off if they did that, because it seems like that would be a lot more universal.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you could just do like little simple. I don't know if you call them scripts, little programlets you can put in there that just do simple little things. That'd be pretty awesome.
Macros.
Yeah, macros or VBS. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Although, I guess, they can use. There's a lot. Would that give attackers more ways of taking advantage of systems, though, if you use Python?
Yeah, maybe. So generally, macros are pretty much disabled everywhere as corporate policy because those are already dangerous. And it depends on, I guess, what libraries are available to Python, what all it's going to be able to do. If it can only interact with that document, it might not be such a big deal. But if it's able to do anything Python can do, dude, I wouldn't want that.
That's a good
I
point.
wouldn't want to allow people to use that. At least I would want to use it personally, but
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you could do some really, probably something like that to pull down different bits of data from different sources and then create some whiz bang sheets of information out of that. So yeah, that could be quite dangerous. Kind of makes you think about the different applications we pull down all the time. How dangerous is that? I don't know. Something to think about for sure. Yeah, there's always jerks out there. They ruin it for all of us, I suppose. Well, some exciting news from the GNOME teams, or teams from GNOME, I should say. So GNOME network displays, they add support for Chromecast and Miracast mice protocols. So has anybody here used Chromecast or Miracast, anything like that before?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this I think is pretty exciting because this is from Phoronix. So the GNOME network display 0.991 was released last week with now comes support for the Miracast over infrastructure, or mice protocol, and the Chromecast protocol is now supported. Support for casting to virtual screens. So it runs really well. It has run really well in Windows for quite some time, this sort of protocol. I got some people at work that are using that for displaying important bits of information, and it runs in Linux, or at least I've gotten to use it in Linux, but it's always been very slow. And so I'd like to check this out. Hopefully, man, actually that'd be really pretty cool if that actually operated at usable speeds, because that really opens up a lot of options. I know I have a Chromecast device someplace. Maybe I need to dig it up. See
I do
if,
too. Don't use it, but it came free with our phone, I think, but years ago. Yep.
Yeah, I don't use my TV often, but when I do, I use my Chromecast.
Yeah. Do you use it from your phone, or how do you use it?
Yeah, from my phone almost entirely. I've messed around with trying to get things to stream from various Linux servers or devices, whatever, but I've had not really great luck. And it's not that I can't connect to the Chromecast. It's that my media library is so ancient and in such weird formats at this point in time that Chromecast can't play them. And I have to transcode on the fly.
I've quit using Chromecast because I tried was playing something on my phone and it does cast to my aunt television. Luckily, it wasn't something outrageous. So from there, I said, nope, gonna quit it.
Well, there you go, I guess. Well, I'll have to check that out this week, and I will report back here next week on how my Gnome Network displays, if there's any improvement there. I have a few different displays I can test on to see if there's any difference from one unit to the next. So that could be fun, I think. And maybe somebody else can try it out too. See if we can come up with something cool as far as like how good it is, I guess. Well, some exciting news about FlatHub. It now has over 1 million active Flatpak app users. So FlatHub is currently one of the most popular app stores for Linux, serving 1.6 billion downloads and over 2,400 apps in the Flatpak format, which more than 850 apps have been verified by the original authors. And now FlatHub proudly announced that today it surpassed 1 million active users for Flatpak apps. I'm going to see if there's anywhere here in the article where it says how they actually came with that. I wonder if they have like... it doesn't say. I wonder how they figured that out. It's probably by IP address, you think? Because they'd have to know where they're sending it out. I'm not sure how that would work.
Might be like session cookies. Or maybe not if you're doing it on the command line. I don't know how that would work.
I was about to say that. How many times people type in Flatpak install, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. There's got to be some way they have like almost like a shadow profile on you or something like that. Because your computer does probably identify itself as it's this distribution, I imagine, somehow. Maybe not.
I wonder if it sends like a UUID
okay.
when you're accessing their servers.
That could be.
Mm-hmm.
That's all the Linux distro hoppers reinstalling their Flatpaks.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's the
Thank
same
you.
people, just different machines.
Me, Shickle. Yeah. What's his name? Prophetic. Yeah, it's just us three. Yeah.
So I dug a little bit into the announcement from Cassidy James, the FlatHub community member, and he says that some of it is driven by the Steam Deck. So apparently, because a lot of Steam Deck users use FlatHub, so that's probably part of it too. So, but it doesn't say here how they track that. Probably worth a follow up, I suppose. So what do you think? You think FlatHub is the format, or do you think it's still? Because I know I still use a lot of app images too, and I use a few snaps. So I don't know.
Only Flatpaks now.
Yeah.
Are you a
I
Flatpak
have
snob?
0 Flatpaks installed on my system. I use strictly snaps. but
Oh, wow.
I use Ubuntu, so
Yeah.
it makes sense for me just to use snaps.
That makes sense.
Hmm.
Well, I use Flatpaks, and I haven't updated for a while because I just completely forgot about it. But so I updated my Flatpaks last night, and boy, are they running a lot faster than what they were before. So they always seem to be improving it, and I don't find any issues with Flatpaks mostly. So that's my choice of applications mostly, anyway.
I have a lot of Flatpak installed. I mean, a lot.
I only have a certain few. There's just a few that I use as Flatpak, which I can guarantee that if they're working, they'll work across the board. Whether I distro hop to something else, you can guarantee that Flatpak's always going to be working. You're not going to have issues
Right.
most of the time.
I
So,
have
wait, I
over
could give,
40. I have over 40 snaps installed.
Woo!
Yeah.
Dang.
I'm behind the times. I've got one Flatpak installed that's Roblox.
How's that run, by the way?
It runs great.
Really?
Yeah, it runs. Just great. It doesn't shut down, so that's kind of a problem. But
Is it the thing called grape juice? Is that what it is?
yeah, it's grape juice. It's in
Okay.
a grape juice Flatpak. Yep.
That's pretty
Yep.
cool. Yeah, I had that installed too. I haven't actually run it though. I installed it and I meant to like run it, and because the kids were going to play Roblox, we ended up playing Minecraft instead. Which, by the way, the Legacy Launcher Flatpak for Minecraft, that's what it's called. That's a really simple and decent interface, and also it allows I don't know how it's pronounced, but it's like bly.by, Blyby. I don't know if you've heard of this, Brian. It allows you to, I purchased 3 Minecraft licenses, and apparently I didn't have to do that. You can use this thing called Blyby, and it'll give you like a token so that you can play, with each other, I guess. So anyway, we had like last night we had a bunch of the cousins over, and so we had probably 4, 5, 6, whatever, playing all at once Minecraft in the same server. Then they kind of broke off into their own little, things, whatever. But anyway, so pretty cool. Saved me some bucks, and I appreciate that. So,
Dude, I've bought like 6 Minecraft licenses. Kind of sucks. Yeah.
well, yeah, I've also purchased like the Bedrock edition too. The Google, I think I purchased that one, and then the they've definitely got their dollars out of me. So.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I'm upset about.
Do.
HexChat is not, they put out their last version. HexChat is no more the IRC client. Yep.
Uh-oh.
I broke that news on the Oh My God Ubuntu because he thanked me. But yeah. Let me see if I can pull up the article. They said, okay, here it is. HexChat 2.16.2 arrives with a small selection of bug fixes and new features for its long-standing fans to enjoy, but also bad news. After 12 months of continued development, the party is over. This will be the last release of HexChat, app maintainer Ting Ping said in a blog post announcement. The project has largely been unmaintained for years, and now nobody else stepped up to do that work. Prior to this one, HexChat's previous release was back in 2021. That release was accompanied by a call for help to try and keep development of the client, in particular its Windows builds, going. Alas, that sorely needed help did not materialize for this user-friendly GTK IRC app that started out as a fork of XChat. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
I want to say Thank you to all the contributors, users, and chatters I've interacted with over the years. Hex Chat was a very important and formative project for me. I started contributing to it as a teenager, learned so much, met many great people, and it led to greater things in my life. It is hard to let go of the it is hard to let go, but the time has come for me to move on. You can download the latest final release from the project website where Windows installers are provided, or get it from FlatHub. All of HexCheck's codes, data, documentation, and dependencies have been moved over to GitHub. The logic being these will be there until the end of Microsoft. Of course, nothing is truly dead in open source, as Team Ping notes. Forks of the project are welcome. Nobody can stop the code from living on. And then he asks, does people still use IRC? Yes. Although HexChat may not see any future releases, the current version will continue to work until it doesn't. And a handful of actively maintained desktop IRC clients for Linux are available for those looking to switch, including Polari, Samuxi, and Conversation.
I use that
KDE.
one. Mm-hmm.
Yep. And then it says, do you ever use HexChat? Do you have any memories of IRC? Do you still use it? Share your thoughts. Yes, I still do.
So where?
And
so-
yes, I remember XChat. Yep.
I remember ICQ also. I don't.
Yep.
I actually haven't been on it in a little while, but yeah, I do keep it installed and configured. Yeah, I like IRC. I think IRC's. I think IRC is pretty rad.
And that was speaking of ICQ, yeah.
I think this is a good call for me to get back to using IRC for the purpose of just so I can use it on my Commodore 64 again. I think that's why.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
But it just makes me wonder, okay, when it finally gets to the point where it won't update it won't compile anymore and you can't install it, what am I going to do? Besides, I don't use KDE, so can't use Conversation.
So if it's released as a flat pack, that'll probably work for quite a while. So I think you got some years, because they have with flat packs and snaps and such, they basically have like platforms of sorts, like a targetable platform where the application will target, and then it'll work on that platform. So until that platform is no longer supported, and then it should actually continue to work. And I think unless if there's some major API changes that would block that Flatpak from working, it should work for a long while. In fact, it might work in perpetuity, actually. Maybe not in perpetuity, but pretty close to it.
I think I'm using the deb version. Yeah. Oh, I'll have to install that.
And CCJ 1998, which I'm going to assume that's when he graduated. He says you don't need KD to use KD software. You can actually use it on any any DE. So,
True.
But yeah, well.
Yeah, but I worry about it like.
Do you have a link to that article?
Yes, I do. I worry about installing like KDE stuff in Mate, because I don't want to like bog my computer down with like KDE, resources and stuff if I'm not using KDE. I just posted it in the room.
Beautiful. Thank you. Wait,
You're welcome. Oh, you don't?
The last one I got is from Jinda.
Okay, I was right above below Anarita.
Oh, put it in the Zoom chat. I don't think.
Okay. It probably blocked it out or something.
Yeah, links are automatically blocked out here. I can fix that so that doesn't happen to you again.
Oh.
Yep.
Okay. How do I get out of the Zoom? Okay, there we go.
I can't do it.
I'll have to pull it up on the laptop here. Ubuntu.
There you go. Now you can post links.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Here it is. Control C. Zoom. Where's the chat?
What about you, Colin? Do you still use IRC?
Never used IRC.
Really?
Never.
Oh man.
What?
I'm not your typical. I'm just a user, right? I'm not a highly technical person, although I've learnt some stuff in the Linux world now because I've been there for a while. But it's a forever learning sphere, I believe. So, but no, I've never used any of those chat things. Never.
Yeah, I was.
Wow.
IRC was like my main communication with nerds internationally before Telegram became a thing. That's what
it was like a requirement.
Yeah.
Same here. I ran into it by accident one day. I had Linux Mint on my laptop, and I had seen a program called XChat, and so I checked on that. And once I learned what it was, and then that it was deprecated and turned into HexChat, then I started using that over the years. And now I just use IRC Cloud, and then that takes care of my needs on everything I have.
I used to use the one where you could click on the guy's nose and it would honk.
Oh wow!
I don't know that one.
Yeah.
I don't know that one.
MIRC. Oh, it was like in the 90s. Yeah.
MIRC. Yep, that's still around. Mm-hmm.
Is that related to CloudScript?
I have no idea.
Because I had a cousin using CloudScript to like download games and music right around '98. Something that said CloudScript at the time.
So I remember back then there was always like bots that were serving wares, and
There you go.
you could do commands. Like the bots would connect to you, and you could try to download their stuff. But I was on dial-up, so they would always just kick me off. So at the time I didn't know how to make a bot. That was what I really wanted to do, was put my own bots up there. But
There
maybe
was
now I could pull it off.
a little bit earlier called Proggies. Does that mean anything to anybody?
What was the name of it?
Proggies. I'll learn.
Bonzies?
No, hold on a second.
Okay. Froggies. Mm-mm. It's
just-
funny that
Oh, memory.
it's funny that Colin said he's never used IRC. I started out on IRC. Wow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I used to chat with the JB, the Jupiter Broadcasting people on IRC all the time. And then
Yeah, me too.
Started out in Perillo, actually, with Chris Perillo. Mm-hmm.
Wow. Remember
Years
the Chumby?
ago. Yep.
The
See,
Chumby was
I didn't touch a computer till I was about maybe 35 years old. So
Wow.
so it's like,
maybe 30, 32, round about there. I remember Windows 95. I think I'd got a computer just before then, for 486. That I wasn't brought up in the computer world. I was old school, so never had any opportunities for those sorts of things.
Okay.
Wow.
That's probably what.
yeah, I was in IRC on
And I find chat.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, go on.
No, I used IRC back when I was on the Commodore Amiga back in the 90s.
See, I didn't have those games. The only games we had was the boop, 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 boop.
Hey,
It's
those
about
games
the
are
only
still
best
fun.
game we could find back in the day. But I mean, I find it very difficult to have conversations on any social media because people get things out of context. I'd rather talk to people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, people don't understand tones and all that because these days people don't even use tones. I don't think they understand all that sort of stuff. That's why I prefer just to talk to people. I find it a lot easier. I mean, if you're using sarcasm or having a joke, people sort of get it a bit more, you know?
Right.
So I'm
See,
old school.
and I'm that way. I'd rather talk to you on a phone than text. I hate texting. Ugh,
Right.
I'd
Ugh.
rather text than talk on a phone.
no.
Usually, if I have to send too many texts in a row, sometimes the call is a lot easier, but I don't want people calling me.
Yeah,
No.
I honestly my phone. I lose it all the time. I have to be more deliberate about my work phone that I don't lose that one. But like my regular phone, my personal phone, usually it's my oldest who will answer my phone calls because he'll find my phone before I do. So
I'm constantly having to tell Alexa to call my phone because I lay it down and I forget where I lay it down. Yep. Yep. I'm like, Alexa, call me. Oops. Oop.
Oh, wow.
I just set her off.
yeah, gotta be careful about that.
Yeah, definitely. That's just like she'll start talking to us. I was talking to somebody in the living room, and all of a sudden she just butted in. And I'm like, nobody said your name, the action word, the A word I just said. And she just started answering us. It's like, no.
This is why I got rid of all assistants and disabled them on my phone.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
like, I don't screw with them anymore. I'm like, I don't like them listening to me. I don't like them. Yeah, they're a huge privacy risk.
There was a point in time when it was kind of let's just call it a darker time in my life, probably about 8 years ago or so, and I had one of those lady tubes, and I would just talk to it just because the house was empty, and so I would I'd carry conversations on with it. I'd say, word, are you spying on me? And it said then it gave some very corporate-y answer. But what I thought was fun was you said open the pod bay doors. It would actually it knew you're talking about Space Odyssey 2001: A Space Odyssey, and so it would say sometimes it would say, I'm sorry, Dave, I cannot do that, or you're not in space. I'm not Dave. I'm not Hal, and there's no pod bay door to open. Like it would say things like that, which I thought were hilarious, and I really appreciate it. I might be getting a little bit wrong, but it would just. I need to find my lady tube now, just see if it still answers to that, just because.
Well, it's nice for music, and it's also nice for this. Alexa, turn off the desk lamp.
Oh, that
See?
is nice, yeah.
Yeah. Alexa,
That's kind of cool.
turn on the desk lamp.
Yeah, they're Home Assistant plugins, so I could get it to work with Home Assistant. I just haven't gotten around to that.
Pretty cool. So I was gifted one of the Google ones, and it was a fun novelty, but it kind of creeped me out. I unplugged it permanently. We were partying, and all of a sudden this thing was like, I'm sorry, could you repeat that? And like everybody at the house looked at each other and was like, no, you're just getting unplugged.
Is that like a Google Nest? Is that one of those Google Nest or something like that?
No, we have the Alexa. I can't say it because she'll go off again. Alexa. Yeah. We had the Google, but the Google, I don't know, it kept messing up. It would lock up.
I'm having trouble hearing. Can you say that again?
Really? Cancel.
Really?
And so we had to keep constantly unplugging them and plugging them back in. So I switched to the letter A over here all throughout the house. Yep.
My daughter bought me I think it was a Google Nest or something, but I don't use it.
Oh, the
I've got
Nest
no
with
use
the little
for it.
screen.
No, just a little speaker thing, little white speaker thing. That's all it was.
Okay, that's the Alexa. The Nest is the one that's got the screen, and you can do the same thing. It'll tell you the weather and all that on the screen.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Man, you gotta be careful spelling its name out. If it's like a dog, it's gonna figure that out soon.
It will. She will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want? It's like, I'm gonna go get some TREATS, and then it knows.
Jumping up and down, ready to go for a ride. Yeah.
Ours know if you spell out BONE, he knows what that means. Yep.
Well, they're not dumb animals.
Mm-mm. Dogs
No,
are smart.
animals are anything but dumb. They
Right.
figure it out.
Right?
No, it's not good for Linux Saloon, but I have a funny goat story for probably after the show.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Yeah, goats are hilarious. But speaking of goats, Mozilla says Apple's new browser rules are as painful as possible for Firefox. So this article is from The Verge. So we're still reviewing the technical details, but are extremely disappointed with Apple's proposed plan to restrict the newly announced browser engine kit to EU-specific apps. DeMonte says the effect of this would be to force an independent browser like Firefox to build and maintain two separate browser implementations, a burden Apple themselves will not have to bear. So I don't know if Apple always does something right. So I'm not really sure then exactly how this is a problem, but I guess in iOS 17.4, Apple no longer force browsers in the EU to use WebKit, the underlying engine that powers Safari. The change opens the door for other popular engines such as Blink, which is used by Google Chrome and Microsoft Edge, as well as Gecko, the engine used by Firefox. It also means third-party browsers could become fully functional in iOS without use of any limitation that could come along with WebKit. So despite this, Mozilla argues that rolling out this change only in the EU will make it more difficult for browsers to juggle different versions. Apple's proposal failed to give consumers viable choices and making it as painful as possible for others to provide a competitive alternative to Safari. So Apple's creating, so it's another example of Apple creating barriers to prevent true browser competition in iOS. I don't know, somehow I kind of think this is just going to work itself out. I use Firefox.
Apple in their walled garden.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
Mm-mm.
So, yeah, I mean, I guess if someone likes Apple, I get it. They're probably a little bit better, more respectful than Google on the privacy aspect of things, unless you go like do that Graphene OS thing. But I don't know. I can't tolerate using them.
Right.
I can't tolerate using them too. I mean, the phone I got now has Lineage, so now Google doesn't have any say of what I do with my device. So
Can you install Pokemon Go on there?
I could. I would have to install the Google
Okay.
the Google services though.
I think most people just don't want to mess with that that workaround stuff. I think that's kind of that's a lot of extra work, I think, for people, and so it's just not attractive. It's just not an attractive solution.
I wanted Android 12, and it wasn't available for this phone, so that's why I changed the Lineage.
That makes sense.
So
I wouldn't even know how to do all that.
I haven't done it in some years.
Yeah.
it takes a little bit of knowledge of how these phones work.
See, I have the Pixel 7.
I rooted
so
the
you
first
can use
Android phone I had,
graphene.
but-
You can use graphene if you got a Pixel 7.
Mm-hmm.
As long as it's unlocked.
As long as it's not, as long as you got the bootloader unlocked.
It's not, because I'm still paying for it.
Oh, so you can't even unlock the bootloader because it's got that financial lock on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I mean, if it's still a locked device, it'll still allow you to unlock the bootloader. But if it's that financial lock, they won't. They lock it out completely.
Oh wow, I didn't know they could control all that. My phone company.
If you finance the device, you agree to it.
Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah. If you finance, it's part of the financial agreement. All carriers do it.
Oh wow.
It's to keep you indebted to them until you pay it off.
Mm-hmm. That 24 months is up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they also want to make sure if they get it back, that it's still usable.
True.
I only have 150 devices on my Wi-Fi, not 200.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Less is more. You know.
Guru.
So more is also more. So, but in that vein, I get it. Like not having extra things. So for me, they're all companions to help me navigate my life. They're like navigational beacons, you know. They turn lights on and off for me at the tap of a toggle switch on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
But
That's what those smart plugs do.
But
It
they're
has an app too.
but they're not internet connected, Brian. They're not
Oh.
internet connected.
Oh, there's big difference.
They're only
Yeah.
on my network.
See, the smart plugs are connected to the internet. That's how Alexa was able to turn them off. Yeah, turn it off.
And
Yeah.
also, I only
Yeah.
sort of feel that way. Sort of.
It was just kind of funny seeing it coming from you. Always like, man, I don't know anybody else who has that much stuff on their network.
Yeah, I think it's time to do some VPNing here. Not VPN, I mean VLANing. I mean VLANing. Might improve
Yeah.
things.
Might make sense.
Yeah, it's on the list of things to do this year. I'll get to it.
Now, if we were still on satellite, I don't think it would work very well. But thank goodness the fiber came through.
Yeah, you know, I was thinking. Yeah, I'd like. I'm strongly leaning toward like the whole Starlink thing. It might be better.
Really?
Yeah.
That's expensive though. It was like $400 to get started. I looked at it when we were still on HughesNet, and I was like, "Ooh, dang!
Yeah, but you own the equipment, so it's not that big a deal.
Oh, that's nice." Yeah, but who has $500 besides you?
Well, I'm very cheap,
You know?
so I don't.
Oh.
I don't buy a lot of things really.
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, I rented our modem through HughesNet. I mean, I paid that $10 or whatever a month. Because I didn't have like $300 to just outright buy the modem, but yeah.
Yeah.
I a lot of times, like when I get cable internet, I will buy my own modem and hook it in instead of use theirs because I refuse to like rent a modem. I'm just like, no, my own equipment because it's a lot more expensive to rent than to buy in the long run.
All right, so I do have exceptions. If it's something that's really cool, I'll buy it, but it doesn't happen very often. So, it's gotta be really cool, and it takes me forever to make a decision to buy something.
Yeah, but buying the modem outright, will they still do service calls for you if you have something break or?
Yes, up to the
It all
modem.
depends.
Up
It
to
all
the-
depends. If it's up to the modem box, like in front of the modem box, their equipment, yes,
Mhm.
but they will
Right.
not fix anything on the other side of the modem box because they'll say it's your equipment, you service it. So that's the trade-off.
So,
And
so
if
they'll
you buy it from the company, they will service it as well. But if you buy it somewhere else, it's your equipment, you service it.
So, like for instance, with HughesNet, if I bought the modem, they would have fixed it, but not the satellite dish outside.
No, I think the dish would have taken care of, but not anything like if it's something goes wrong with the modem, they won't fix that. So anything modem inward, they won't mess with.
Yeah.
Because you own it.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, if you bought it for them, they probably would
That's
Oh.
true.
because it was their equipment in first place. But if you're just using some third party modem, they're not going.
Right.
They won't fix that.
Like a surfboard or whatever that you
Yeah.
buy at Best Buy or whatever.
So
Mhm.
when I
Yeah,
had
exactly.
Comcast, I had bought my own modem as well because basically the return on investment for buying your own modem was like 4 months.
Yeah, that was me too.
Yeah. So
2 to 4 months. Yeah.
and also I didn't want their stinky box that had their own Wi-Fi access point things, and then I'd have to like work around that anyway.
Yeah.
See, that's the way our fiber is. They've changed the password, and you can't get in the router no more.
Yeah, I still don't like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Mhm.
I've always ran my own router outside of the modem that I have.
Yeah.
It's-
Well,
Right.
right now we have AT&T fiber. We have to use their modem, but
Us too. I mean, not AT&T, but yeah.
Like
But
you can
they-
use their modem and then you plug in your own router to their modem and just use your own router, and then they still
Mhm.
have access to their modem, but they don't have access to anything inside your network.
yeah,
Exactly.
I've been thinking about doing that, but
Yeah.
I just haven't because I don't have an up-to-date router. All the routers I have are like 5 years old right now, so I'm like, nah, I'll just use the router until I figure out what I'm gonna do.
This is, I don't know. I mean, yeah, if it's that much better, I always used $5 routers that I bought at Goodwill for like my entire life up
But-
until
Yeah.
last year.
And put like
Wow.
DVWRT on it.
If
Oh.
I didn't know, I should have. I never even did.
Oh.
They would be
Make a
like the
diff-
most basic, crappy Netgear or Linksys,
Linksys.
whatever, like
Yeah.
bottom of the barrel Belkins, you know.
Belkin.
But it's like
Yeah,
whatever.
pretty much. Yeah,
I-
that's pretty much what I got.
All right. So speaking of routers or whatever, I love the Linksys WRT 54G or 54GL. That was, to me, that will always be. That has nostalgia and brings me happiness just to have one. I think I probably have one over here someplace if I look hard enough.
Oh, I just Googled that. Yes, I used to have one of those too, the blue modems, and they bricked constantly. Yes.
Oh, well, I mean, I don't know about the modem part of it, but the I had
Oh.
my first like network stack that I had. I had the DOCSIS modem, and then I had the router, and then I had like an actual it was a not a managed switch, but it was like a, I don't remember how many port managed switch I sent. It was like a stack of this stuff, and it all looked really nice there in my basement. You know, this is like 10 years plus ago. But anyway, yeah, probably 12 years. I don't want to think about it
Now,
actually. Anyway, so
my,
you could do lots of neat things with those because you could actually put DDWRT and set all kinds of rules. So if let's say you need to, I don't know, reshape a Wi-Fi bubble around where your area is, you can very easily do that with one of those just by, you know, a Yagi antenna, point it where you need to point it, and it does wonders for you. So anyway,
mine was just the straight router. It was blue like that, blue and black, but it bricked constantly. I had to keep going buying new ones every 2 or 3 years. They would just brick out and wouldn't allow like no connections to it.
Man, I had one of those for probably 8 or 9 years.
But I was gonna.
I did have one of the ports on the back went out, and I could only use like 3 of the ports. But
Uh-huh.
other than that, it was
Yep.
pretty solid.
Mm-hmm. I was gonna say our fiber company, which is through our light company, they said I could do that. I could buy a router and hook it up if I wanted to, and set their router aside. It's just a big tall box. It's weird looking.
this is it right here. Not this
Yep.
one, but the this is a WRT54GL. This one actually came with Linux on it. So
I don't remember if mine had the antennas on it or not.
these are. I have some that are like burnt up. I want to do. Maybe change it to like a Raspberry Pi box. Like that might be kind of cool. Yeah, these are by far my favorite. These will always be my favorite.
They don't even make those anymore, do they?
No, sir,
No.
they do not. Nope.
No, Linksys was bought up by Cisco, but then it was sold off to some other company that I
think,
forget
Like,
which.
was it like Netgear or something?
It might be.
Oh,
Yeah.
Netgear.
They don't make those anymore.
Was I talking to you
Oh,
about
wow.
a managed switch for home, Brian?
No, maybe. I don't know. Oh, I was talking about one of those the other day.
What if it was to me?
Well, like I just bought one.
Yeah, what did you buy? A Netgear or?
No, no, I don't know. It's called a Zyzel. I bought like the cheapest thing I could find
Oh yeah, that's right.
because it runs Linux, and I'm fascinated by like cheap equipment that somehow they squeeze an operating system onto. So whether it's gonna last very long or not, I have no idea. But I just got it yesterday. I'm pumped. I have to come up with an operating system that fits in 8 megs if I want to flash my own. So might be a little rough, but I did get something built today with BuildRoot that was like 7.4 megs, so that was pretty cool. I haven't tried to get it running yet. It runs in QEMU, but whether that runs in real life is another question.
Yeah, that would definitely be something, because I guess this is a long time ago. I'm sidetracking here, but I thought there was like a point in time when I was reading, or maybe it was a podcast or something, where a lot of the network stack stuff, like where Cisco used to reign supreme, where a lot of the open source software for network routing was becoming more mainstream in that area. Does anybody know what I'm talking about, or am I like my barking at the wind? Maybe I'm barking at the wind.
Dude, I'll be honest, I was staring off into space while you're talking, so I don't know what you're saying.
That happens a lot. Not by you, but just in general. I sometimes stare at the wind. I stare at the lights and just don't know where I am for when I start talking. No, but there's I could have sworn there was something. This is probably 6-8 years ago where companies were using basically open source technology for routing and routing tables and everything else, and supplanting a lot of the stuff that where Cisco held that trophy as number one.
Yeah, so, like Cumulus Linux is like an open, what do they call that? Open network or something.
Something like that.
Network stacks. So they do make open switches that you can install network operating systems onto. And I think that it was probably like 7 or 8 years ago where they're trying to push those really hard. Okay. All of those companies kind of fizzled out. You can still buy open switches, but they're also like $4,000. You know,
Ooh.
So when you're comparing like an open source switch that you can install your own Linux on to other enterprise gear, it's like the same price. So it doesn't make a lot of sense in that space.
Interesting.
And now they have routers that you can stick SIM cards into.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Now,
stick
regarding
the
routers that you were using for real cheap from like the thrift store or whatnot, what kind of speeds were you getting from those things?
Slow. Oh. I don't know. You know, like most of my stuff would be hardwired. So if I was on my local network trying to copy files from one machine to another, it was fine. I could get gigabit. But my internet connection was always like 60 meg anyway. So I never really had an issue where I could be streaming stuff to a TV and the computer, and people would be using their phones, and no one ever had any issues.
Wow.
Cool. Because I'm going to be changing around once I move, and I'm just trying to decide which company to go for as far as internet is concerned. So I'll have to make that arrangement.
It's funny, but
Good.
I was gonna say it's funny here. It's fiber out in the country, but go into the city, it's Xfinity and AT&T in some parts. Yeah. Yep.
Nothing here where I live. Got to go 1,000 feet this way and get Comcast, 1,000 feet that way and get Comcast, but here, nothing.
That's weird.
That's the way it goes. It'd been like $3 or $4 grand to get it run to my house. I'm like, well, no.
No. I'll pass on that.
All right, well, some other exciting news. So Apple makes it official, no home screen web apps in the European Union.
Huh?
Yep, from the Register. Apple confirmed on Thursday it will not support home screen web apps, commonly referred to as progressive web apps, or PWAs, on iOS devices in European Union member states under its forthcoming iOS 17.4 release. Intended to comply with the EU's Digital Markets Act, which broke PWAs in Europe. In Europe, EU users should still be able to open home screen web apps. Apple made the change without notice to developers, despite Cupertino's repeated insistence that web apps represent an alternative to native iOS apps for those unable or unwilling to abide by its platform restrictions. So Maximiliano Furtman, I think I'm saying that right, a web developer who works on PWAs, added, The technical reasons behind the decision published in the document are childish, and it contains many lies. The Open Web Advocacy, an organization of web developers, agrees it's telling that this is the feature that Apple refused to share, and it makes sense. The idea that users could install safe and secure apps that Apple can't tax, block, or control is terrifying to them. It notes, finally, Apple has offered an apology of sorts and has tried to soften the blow by suggesting few people actually bother installing web apps on their iOS home screen. No, I don't have an iOS device, but I can see how that could be irritating. I mean, because that pretty much cuts out a lot of developers, I would think, at that point, from developing on iOS. That's another reason not to like iOS, I guess.
Apple trying to control their walled garden.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Does that affect anybody here, you think? No, because it's EU, probably. Yeah, I don't know.
Not my.
Not me. I don't use Apple. Never.
Yeah, that's right.
Dude, I have used Apple. Not like, I wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna go buy myself a MacBook. It was, one fell out of the sky and landed in my lap, and or off the back of a truck and landed in my lap or something. And it was a nice piece of equipment, I can't complain about that. I was not familiar with the operating system or anything, and I used an iPhone as a stopgap in between like my phone dying and getting a new phone. And in the 2 weeks that I used the iPhone, I was like, oh,
You got suckered in.
I was like, I think I understand why people use these. And then I got the Android that I had ordered, and as soon as I opened the box and pulled it out, I was like, this phone's a piece of crap. I can tell by touching it.
Huh.
The hand feel.
Yeah. I will say, aside from their hostility toward right to repair, Apple does make nice, like their fit and finish is great. The keyboards are terrible, but the fit and finish is, I mean, they look good. They feel like they're expensive, but I just don't like the experience on them at all.
I'll tell you my experience on an Apple. I got some brother-in-laws that needed some help with some stuff, Excel and all that, for their business. And am I wrong in saying they don't have like a backspace button, or do I not know where it is? Because I found it awfully frustrating trying to backspace something on an Apple.
I think they just call it delete.
Delete.
Yeah.
Is it?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. I'm actually
Delete
using.
backspaces.
Yeah.
They just want to confuse
Weird.
you. Yeah.
I have to remember that.
What turned me off to Apple was one, the price, two, the people that own Apple's stuff, like Macs and stuff, they go, oh, you use Windows? Oh, you must be too poor to own a Mac. It's
I would
like,
say, yeah.
yeah. And it's like, oh, finger gesture to you and your Mac too. But, and for years I hated Mac because of that. Oh, you're too poor to afford a Mac. Loser. Yeah.
Yeah, there's
Now
a little bit of... Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, when I was using that Mac, 90% of my time was spent in a virtual machine that was running Linux.
Wait. Oh. I thought you was going to say Windows.
No.
That's funny.
It runs Linux very well.
Huh.
I don't know if natively on the hardware it does. I don't know about that at all, but in a VM it was fine.
It's possible. If it's before the Apple Silicate, it's possible to run Linux on a MacBook. I've done it before. On one of my friend's MacBooks that he was having some issues with Mac OS, I installed Ubuntu Linux on it. It worked just fine, except for some weird thing with the airport Wi-Fi code. Like literally, it would install the driver for it, but the thing is, whenever you restarted it, you would have to go in and turn it on in the settings before it actually worked instead of popping it on when you rebooted it. It was weird.
No, it's funny. I would hate on Apple products a lot, and then one of my buddies was actually upgrading his stuff that he had. This is like back in 2012. So I got his Mac Pro, I got iPad, I got an iPod. You know, it's a number of things that I got at the same time, and from using those things, I started looking at it from a different angle. And then even like right now, I'm using a MacBook Pro in 2015. That's working pretty well for me. I've gotten used to it. I prefer using Linux, but for something that's been given to me, they're nice. They're nice to have. They can be a pain in the butt sometimes to deal with, but all in all, not horrible. And I got
And
my iPad.
next thing you know, Swift will be wanting the Mate project to change its name to iMate. I'm just kidding.
No, you're fine. You're
Yeah.
fine. I'm happy with
iMate.
what I have because this was given to me, and this will tie me over until I get my framework, which will be running Linux. So
Oh,
just one of
I
my
always
tools.
I always wanted an iPad, but now that I don't have an iPhone, don't need it. Yep.
I mean, I don't use an iPhone. I have one, and I just use it. I mean, it goes well. I mean, I use KDE connect to my Linux stuff. And,
So
Sweet.
that means yours has the data on it, or is it Wi-Fi only?
mine is Wi-Fi only.
Ah, I wanted one that actually had the data on it. I mean, I could live without that, but most of them now come with a SIM card in them.
Mm.
But if you do it through your phone company or whatever, they automatically
I
give you a SIM card.
I use mine quite a bit, so this is one of my devices that I'm rather fond of at this point.
And do
I
you
had,
know? Oh,
I
go
had
ahead.
I had the iPad 3 before I had this one, and used that for years until finally it took one fall too many, and
Oh,
That's all she
wow.
wrote.
all
So
And the whole time I had that iPhone SE, I turned off the blue bubbles. Sorry, not sorry.
So, Colin, I can help you out here. So, Co2610 says they call it delete, but functions as backspace. So there we go.
Oh,
Wow. Well, there you go. I would never have known that, to be honest.
Yep.
That's unbelievable.
I didn't know that either, that they didn't have a backspace button.
And then also Co2610 says Asahi runs an Apple Silicon. Yeah, I've heard that. And actually, my understanding is the Asahi team is actually I say actually too much. The Asahi team has discovered different bugs in some firmware that Apple has, and so they've helped Apple fix some of their firmware issues because there's something with their AB. I don't know exactly what it is. Anyway, so I do know that Asahi, and it does run pretty well now.
that's awesome.
I thought that was a Japanese beer.
Is that what that Asahi means? Japanese beer?
It's a Japanese beer, yeah.
Another thing, so CCJ1998 says, love the Apple II growing up, never cared for the Mac, and when I got my own money, I said no thanks, got me a $500 HP. So is that
There
a
you go.
desktop or was that a laptop? That's what I want to know. So because that would be, I mean, Apple IIs sort of fell out of, I guess, the regular, modern computer sometime in the early 90s. So now I'm curious to know, what was this $500 HP? Was it used? Was it new? Did you go to Best Buy?
And you're right. I just pulled up a Mac keyboard on Amazon. Yeah, it just says delete. That's weird. Huh. It doesn't say backspace. It just says delete. But then if you look at other languages like Danish, French, it just has the little symbol for, delete. The little house that's turned sideways with the X in the middle of it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then CCJ1998 says, I just use a burner phone these days. Last time I blew a lot of money on a phone, I dropped it in a toilet and said not again.
Yes.
Oh, that's terrible. Never, I have not done that. I've dropped other things like in a porta-john and just said they're gone now forever.
Oh. No.
Never seeing that thing again.
Yep.
Yeah.
I can see
would
it down
leave
in there,
in
but
there.
it's gone.
Yeah, I wouldn't be fishing it out. No.
Nope.
Not in a porta potty. Mm-mm.
Oh, and he goes on.
Boy.
He goes on to say it was a desktop Walmart special. That's fantastic. And sometimes Walmart specials are the best pet, and I agree.
Mm-hmm.
You get one of those winners from time to time in the somehow it just ends up being a great little machine. Like those for a long time, those HP was like Stream or something. Those little like little laptops. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? They're not very big. They're like a NetBook Plus or a Chromebook Minus.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
There were smaller ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember what the hell did they call?
I think it was like HP Stream or HP. It was an HP. It was a really neat little machine.
The HP Stream.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember those.
I remember them.
They got a lot of flack because they were cheap, but I'm just like, you were paying like $150 for. What did you expect? I mean,
yeah, they were
if you
really
pay-
inexpensive. Yeah.
yeah, you get what you pay for. I mean, it was a neat little machine to buy for your like kids to watch Netflix on.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I mean that if that's what you were buying for, $150 was a steal of a deal.
And they're in a plastic body, almost like a rubberized plastic. So if you dropped it, it wouldn't be.
Yeah.
It would sort of bounce, and if you broke it at $150, you didn't shed too many tears. $150 worth of tears, not like $800 worth of tears.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like,
And Rita
Speaking
says
of-
that she only buys her laptops at Best Buy, Staples, or Costco.
I was going to say when y'all said Walmart special, that reminds me of that picture I saw on Facebook. It says Best Buy. Make sure you turn your computer off on 12/31/99.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I can't say anything about Best Buy. I would be careful at Staples because the people who work there who are selling computers, they don't make very much profit on them, so they're pressured very hard to get a lot of attachments, at least $200. And this may have changed. This was like 15 years ago. They had to attach at least $200 of extra sales to a laptop. And if you weren't going for these extra things, they could pull it off the shelf and be like, oh, and then pick the box up and take it out to you and be like, you're going to be mad you didn't get that? Yeah.
You're
You
going to
didn't
be
get the plan.
Yeah, are you going to be mad that you didn't take my offer for Norton, Yeah.
Yep.
Slippery.
But we have both of those here, a Staples and Best Buy.
What about
Or-
Costco? I've never been in a Costco. Is that as good as they say it is to go into?
We don't have one here. You have to go to Memphis, I think, for that. Or maybe it's a Staples. I want to say it's Office Max here. Office Max and Best Buy. When you said the computers are sold by Staples, I think, at Best Buy, right?
What?
Brian?
They have them at both. Well, Staples is where I saw that happen at.
Okay.
Like the salespeople dropping them on the floor intentionally before they give them to you.
That's
Oh.
terrible.
Yeah, that's bad.
All right,
Yep.
Swift. That is a great little machine. I mean, it's probably not that powerful, but it's probably just perfect for like, late night browsing web on or watching a movie, in bed kind of thing. It looks like a great little machine.
Kind of like that machine that Jenda has that he talked about last week. The Windows.
Oh, yeah,
whatever
my
it's
old
called.
Surface.
The Surface. Yeah.
That thing is sweet, but unfortunately the operating system was a nightmare.
Right.
Windows RT just did not work.
Yeah, I that Surface Go there that Colin has.
Yeah.
I occasionally still look at getting one of those. They're like $80 on eBay. I've seen. I'm so cheap. I don't want to spend the money right now. But that might just
So
be
what
a nice little machine.
So what Colin has is the same thing as what Jenda has, the Surface.
I don't know. Is it Surface Go yours, didn't it?
No, mine's a Surface RT. It's pretty
Okay,
old.
it's the
Oh.
ARM one, I think.
Okay.
They stopped. I don't. Well, it's still a Surface what they had at the time, but they had Windows RT and it was very limited. You couldn't install anything on it, but now it's got a Raspberry Pi OS on it.
This thing works really well, especially with the GNOME desktop. It works really well, I must say. And the only problem with that is every time I install a GNOME desktop on there, they've got this little file in the Etsy folder called mockd that just puts all this gibberish on your login screen, just all this text on the login screen. You've got to delete it. I don't know if anyone's come across that before, but it always seems to happen on that one. It's bizarre.
Mock D? Huh.
MOTD, mockd file. I think somebody left it in there.
Huh.
So Jay Lee in the chat says, I've been building my system since the 8088. I started with that's what I started with. Then 286, etc. Remember back in the day, overclocking required soldering skills. Fun days. I've never overclocked a machine before. Ever.
Me either.
Well, that's not entirely true. I did overclock a GPU, or whatever, back in the late 90s, early 2000s, so I could play Descent 3.
I've overclocked the Raspberry Pi quite a bit.
Really? Does that go well?
It's never done an issue. According to what I read on the Raspberry Pi 4, the reason they sold them the way they were is because something with the firmware. And they said once you updated the firmware, you actually could overclock it. And it's been running. I ran it for weeks, overclocked, and it didn't do anything to it. The temperatures never went up.
Yeah, there were some problems with the early Pi 4s, I think, with getting really hot.
Yeah, I think it was the firmware that was doing it.
Yeah, I think so too. So he goes on and he says, my first hard drive was purchased from Computer Shopper, a wholesale place out of Florida. Dirt cheap drives for $200. 40 megabytes, MFM, Seagate 251-1s. So Ron, you're shaking your head because you probably is that you did the same thing?
Yeah, sort of. I'm just shaking my head and smiling about the Seagate 251 because that was such a piece of unadulterated crap. So many of them died. So many of them died, and they quite often, within 3 or 4 months, become so noisy.
Yeah.
But yeah, my earliest overclocking exercise was back in 78. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, that was a while back.
A few years.
Motorola 6800 going from 1 megahertz to 2 megahertz. And I had to revert it back because all the refresh to my screen was doubled. So, yeah, I didn't have the programming chops to go and muck with that part of the BIOS. So, yeah.
Yeah, the 6800 is basically...
Seagate, yes.
My first hard drive was also Seagate. It was a 200 megabyte, a 2.5-inch-ish hard drive and an Amiga 600. That was pretty wild. But I do have to say though, the old MFM hard drives, there's something almost wonderful about how they sound. Like when they're chunking around and making the little ticking sounds. I don't know. I think it's a neat sound.
A Micropolis full height 5 1/4 inch. It's such a glorious sound when you apply power to it. And there's sort of like a ball bearing sound, then a low hiss, then a little sweet little whisper to you, I guess, to say I'm ready.
That combined with the whining of the case fan or the power supply, whatever it is. Yeah, a certain kind of whine to it that I think is.
I don't like that part. I usually fold a business card and stuff it in the fan. It's quiet. And the power supplies last surprisingly long.
Yeah.
I remember in 7th grade, the starting up the Apple TGS, it would go make that, and then the line would go across the screen telling you to put in the boot disk or whatever on the 2GS.
I remember my 2GS. I had one. The funny thing is, I picked it up I want to say in 2003 5 for like $5, just because I wanted to mess around with it. And then it blew its power supply, and about 10 minutes with me. And then I didn't want to mess with it, so I sold it for $20 to somebody. Now I'm shooting myself because the computers, like, these are like worth over $1,000 now. I'm like, stupid.
Yeah, but hindsight's always 20/20.
That's like, and then also later on, I was also good at print shop back then. Oh my God, teachers would have me print out like banners and calendars and all kind of stuff for the print shop for the Apple TGS. But then I remember one time getting scared coming into the classroom and turning on the Mac Classic. It was in black and white. The screen was, it wasn't in color yet, and it played that do 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 do, and it scared the crap out of me with the little broken with the Mac with the little X for the eyes, you know. Yeah.
Those were the days.
Yep, that's the only time I ever saw that and heard that do 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 do. You know, I don't even know what was wrong with it. The teacher sent it off and had it fixed, but yeah.
Sort of sad Mac, broken face.
Sad Mac. Yep.
All right, so one more story here. It's another FlatHub story, where the Flatpak is related. So FlatHub has changed the game. They implement a rigorous build validation thing. So FlatHub's automatic build validation system has received a comprehensive update, making it more robust by including checks for issues previously only flagged manually. In addition to the improved build validation, FlatHub has implemented stricter moderation policies for all changes to app permissions and certain critical meta-info modifications. Changes such as adding or moving static permissions or altering the app's user-facing name will now be subject to a manual review. FlatHub's switch to libappstream, a modern and well-maintained AppStream library, is a notable advancement to the update. With it, developers can now specify supported screen sizes for mobile devices and include video snippets alongside static screenshots, offering a richer user experience. So to me, I think that sounds very exciting. That, we had talked about before how, the vulnerabilities and such with things like, Python and embedded into Excel, how that could cause problems. But I think the fact that they're actually doing these checks, which more rigorous automated checks, which actually can trigger manual checks and so forth, that sounds like it's much work being done to make open source software even more secure. So that to me is exciting news. Also, AppStream is pretty rad, truly. If you have click on an AppStream link, and let's say you have Discover using KDE, I don't know, I'm sure the GNOME one is pretty much the same, but it launches that application and it will find that and then give you options of, if you like, for me, it'll give you the Flatpak option or the native package options and so forth, which that's pretty rad. So if you come across that, check that out. AppStream I think it's very good. It's a wonderful thing. That'll make distributing software a little bit more seamless for the user. But if you're gonna, terminal Flatpak install, then the fully qualified name, then you probably don't care anyway. So still, but anyway. Any thoughts on that as far as the rigorous testing in FlatHub? Is that I know Brian, you said you are still old fashioned in another era, so probably maybe not as exciting for you.
FlatHub's awesome.
How about you?
I think about it all the time. I'm just like, oh, maybe I should get into FlatHub this week. And then I just don't. I just do other stuff.
I'm sensing just a whisker of sarcasm there. I don't know if it's
maybe like a little bit, but also for real though. I really do. Like sometimes I'm like, I should probably check this stuff out, and it just doesn't come up. I don't know. I couldn't even tell you what I do. I just do too much other stuff.
I understand. I do. When you're problem solving one thing and you get into another, and then the time that you would have set aside for exploring FlatHub may have not happened because of that. Because you're trying to save the world or something. your small world. How about you, Terry? Are you a flat hub connoisseur? Uh-oh. Just stayed muted. It's all right. Ron, do you use flat hub at all?
Rarely. I would sometimes load up programs to do ECAD, I guess it's called. Circuit board design.
Okay.
Try them out and get nowhere with it. Just get frustrated and go back to the manual way of doing things. So, yeah.
I like fritzing. Have you tried out fritzing before?
Is that like a deviant exercise? What is that?
It's a it's an application for designing circuits and whatnot. It's called fritzing. I don't know if it's it might be a bit of an older one.
I've heard
now.
KiCad.
Yep, that's another one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one comes recommended to me quite often.
Yeah, they're yeah, it's a good one too. So, yeah, I've been liking flat packs more and more. I think they're just getting better. I really think they are. So
It's a good insurance policy, I suppose. I mean, for example, somebody was mentioning HexChat is being stopped being updated or something. I wasn't really
Me.
listening. Oh,
Me.
there you go. Yeah.
Mhm.
And being that a flat pack version is available for it, there's no reason why going forward won't be useful for decades probably.
Yeah, they just put out the last version of it, 2.16.0. Yep.
So what do you think the next successful fork will be? Next chat?
Bingo, probably.
Hey,
Probably. I mean, that's the way that works.
no, they could also pass it on too. Who knows what will happen? Sometimes these projects they kind of like stall out for a while, then someone else picks it up and then has new life into it. So I wouldn't worry too much. Open source has a way of keeping ththings alive long term.
Oh Lord, open source.
So Jay Lee he poses a good question. He says flat hub, flat packs, etc. are all just wasted space not to deal with library inconveniences. I think more real progress is going to happen from Rust fixing leaks and other fundamental never solved issues. Thoughts? Well, I mean, I understand what you're saying. I think flat packs do take up more space because they have there's these runtimes, these platforms essentially to which the applications are built against. But once you have those initial things installed, they don't really take up that much more space. And also, I mean, when you have, as big of hard drives, like I might have a 2 terabyte hard drive on my laptop, or it's not a hard drive, it's an NVMe SSD storage. It's really negligible, the storage space it takes up. So I do think though that Rust does provide some very interesting, I think, improvements as a programming language, not having some of the same issues as C has as far as fixing some of these memory leaks. So I think that I do agree though on that second part of the statement that I do think that some of these issues not solved before are going to get solved, and they'll get solved over time anyway. But that will just mean there'll be new issues that are going to surface that other people are going to exploit, and I guess we'll go from there.
But flat packs share runtimes, right? So if a flat pack's installed, it has the same runtime as something else, then it doesn't have to install that runtime, right?
Correct.
That is
I'm
correct.
pretty sure.
That is
Yep.
correct. Same with snaps. Once that you install it,
Snaps the same?
it's shared. Yep, snaps are the same. Because
Okay.
they implemented that protocol 3 years ago, where you just had different runtimes instead of combining everything, and
Yeah.
that actually improved snaps a lot.
Yeah, I think that's all going to work itself out all right. It's not gonna
Yeah,
be-
maybe I misunderstand what he's saying, but I feel like those are two separate problems that are being solved independently. Memory leaks or exploitability versus containerization. Like Flatpaks could be used to containerize the code that's been written in Rust or in C or in whatever.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I think that, so in a way, Flatpak tries to solve some of those problems by the isolation, the security piece of it. And I think that's probably where those
I
others
gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the Venn diagram, the little piece in the middle there.
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly. That is exactly it. So I think, yeah, I think that pretty much covers it for that. Well, thank you very much. I like news topics. I think news topics are fun. And I am looking for my index here. So next week is an application appetizer, and I talked about doing DistroBox. If anyone has like started playing with that, so I don't know if that's still something people want to like maybe play with. And you have like what was the one that you called? It was like DistroBox. No, it was box helper. What was it called? Was it called Jinda?
That was Box Buddy. Box Buddy, I think, is
Buddy.
Yeah,
Tinder
Box Buddy.
was trying.
Yeah.
Yeah, Box Buddy.
So that is one option to that we could do. The other is, and maybe we need to prepare for this a little bit more, but there are some Linux users even in our community that do have accessibility challenges. I guess we'll put it like that, where there are different like tools and accessibility in Linux that make using your computer easier for people who don't have either eyesight issues or whatnot. So I don't know if anybody here uses any accessibility applications or that's a point of discussion. I need to research this one a little bit more, but I just want to kind of throw this one out there as maybe a future topic. So that's something to think about, accessibility and the importance for that, especially like screen readers and whatnot. And so anyway.
Well, the thing is, as far as I know, accessibility programs don't work in Wayland still.
I can't verify that, but it'd be a good thing to maybe.
Yeah.
I think it's a good topic to research. I know there's a lot of work being done on that, and I'm actually curious now.
Yes, yeah. But I was like, that's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't say for sure. I think they work in Plasma. So yeah, there's quite a bit of accessibility. Like, yeah, screen reader works. The Orca screen reader works in Wayland.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. Because I didn't think it did, but yeah, okay.
Well, I'm not getting any error, but I haven't used it. It might be something I might look into. Anyway, so maybe I'll look at maybe some accessibility stuff out there. There might be some information. Actually, I'm gonna see what I can find on that topic. So, watch this space, I guess. So we'll do like a little housekeeping here. If you have any topics, news topics, discussion ideas, polls, any suggestion that you might have for the Linux Saloon, feel free to email me, suggestions@linuxsaloon.com. Although I am like 2,000 emails underwater again, so I'll have to get through that here in the next couple days. So I'll get to it eventually. So next week we will do DistroBox and Box Buddy. So that's something I've been actively playing with. Maybe not so much this past week, but the week before I was using it for quite a few things. So so here is the idea. If you need applications that require specific distributions or whatnot, or you want to declutter your host, your main system, and push things like DistroBox, it's a kind of a challenge you might want to take up or whatever. So that's kind of the angle I'm going. Can I declutter my local system, push some things into DistroBox that might make like updates work a little better? So it's, to me, I look at it as like another alternative to container. It's not really containerized, but like Flatpak is containerized, a way of like delivering applications. I think DistroBox can be another way of delivering applications and whatnot. And technology like that could potentially be used for, maybe running old or bespoke bits of software as well, and like old Linux or Linuxy software. So I know I may explore that as well if there's time. So next week, DistroBox and Box Buddy. See if that works out for you. There's a Flatpak for Box Buddy as well. All right. So that means it's time for last call here. So, Colin, you said you are going to be kind of incommunicato for a little while
Yeah,
as you
yeah,
resettle.
probably, yeah. Yeah.
All right. So, if are you gonna be like hitching up your oxen and going to the next stop on the Oregon Trail for you?
Yeah, I'll be well, I won't have a home to live in, so I'll be living with somebody, I suppose, until the new house is ready, which we don't have a date yet, but see how it goes. Maybe a couple of months. Maybe I probably won't have the mic and all that, so it's going to make it difficult to be able to join, and I'll probably be busy. Yeah, maybe, yeah. I'm not sure. They haven't given us a date.
Have you checked out the house?
Oh yeah, on a regular. I'm only 10 minutes down the road. Yeah.
Have you walked in and think like, this is where I'm going to put my couch. This is where the big screen TV is going to go. This is where I'm going to do Linux Saloon. Have you figured all that out?
Yeah, that's yeah. Got a room for that. Got a room for that.
Oh, good. That's exciting.
Just got to get there first. Takes time. Got to be patient, I suppose.
Yeah, that's
no pain, no gain, they say.
I don't know who they are that said that, but I don't like that.
None of us do.
Yeah. So Ron, I don't know if there's anything you had maybe burning a hole in your Linuxy pocket, but
Actually, very little Linuxy. Had more of a question for Colin, but I'm not sure how to articulate to him because it's a little personal. Colin, in Ontario, I'm sure it's all over the world, but one scam, I'm going to call it for what it is. Builders would agree upon a price with you for a house to be built, and let's call it $1 million. And then when you're getting close to the occupancy, at least the interior is just about to be finished, they would say, "I'm sorry, we're going to have to raise that a little bit. I need another 150." In the meantime, the buyer, and this has happened to too many people that I know, the younger couples mostly, they're in limbo. They've given notice on their apartment or wherever they happen to be living at, and they're being forced to go to court, but there's no legal precedent for them to be automatically be winning a case like that. So they actually have to fight their way through the whole process. And right now in Ontario, it's before the ombudsman, I think it's called.
Yeah, ombudsman, yeah.
Yeah, to see is there any recourse for these people? Like how binding is that agreement? Because it's an agreement, apparently not a contract, whatever that means. So I don't know if it's similar situation happening in your neck of the world. It just pisses me off some.
Definitely it does happen here, and we specified to the builder that we want a locked-in price before we build, and we actually, there's two types of builders in Australia, and one of them's not doing so well. So if you go under the umbrella of another one, which has got plenty of other sub-builders underneath, you're probably more than likely to be okay. So I did do a lot of research because there was a lot of problems happening here as well. There's actually a Facebook page called Shonky Builders. So that's how bad it's got, right? So people are communicating on Facebook about, builders and just giving information about, people to stay away from and that sort of thing. But yeah, definitely it happens here too. Absolutely. I think it's a worldwide problem.
It is.
Yeah.
So I have.
It is just. Sorry.
A good friend of mine had a house built. He moved into it in October, and so he had to do like a final something payment to get occupancy and everything else, but they hadn't actually finished everything, and so now he's working through a lot of that right now, and it's actually getting kind of unpleasant, especially for him. So he paid for literally a $500,000 house, and they have not completed all of their ends of the thing, and so it's kind of. He's paid for a lot of extra out of cash too. So he took his final draw and everything else, and it's.
We had a similar. Well, a friend of mine had a similar thing happen just this last fall. None of the light switches were installed yet, and I think legally the builder is required to have those in place. But 2 bathrooms were not started, and I forgot what else there was. Some carpeting or something wasn't done. Yet the builder demanded, final payment, and you need to sign off that it's all hunky dory. We promise we'll
That's
be by.
correct.
Don't worry about it. We'll be by.
Yeah.
Just
We've
tell
had
us
some.
when.
I've known some people waiting 2 to 3 years for the house to be built. I mean, and they started during. Some of them probably started during the pandemic, so that would have been an issue as well. And then they're claiming that because of higher costs of freight, that's why they're bumping their prices up. So I spoke to somebody within the building industry, which I thought was a well-known builder, and he was telling me that they got builders and then other builders. They got high class builders and then different levels of building and prices and that. And he said we actually project our prices and put them up accordingly, so we don't get caught out. So that's why we went with a builder under that that runs that type of way of building their homes, because you lock it in, you don't get caught out. And I knew it was a problem, so I really wasn't sure whether to build it this time because of those issues. But so far, so good.
Yeah, I think the whole building, like scoping all that stuff out, that seems like a pretty complicated
It is.
Oh yeah.
thing. So I wonder how much of it is incompetence and how much of it's malicious. And I don't mean incompetence.
Well, some builders.
I think it's profiteering in a big way, especially in 2021. I remember distinctly 2x10 lumber for inside. The price almost tripled, and it was true in the States and in Canada. And you would go to Home Depot, and what prior to the pandemic was like, I don't know, $4 Canadian, $4.25 Canadian, is now more like $11 Canadian. So work that out for the American price. And you would go there and they say, yeah, it's a constrained items. I'm sorry, you'll have to like line up and put your bid in for whatever it is, the number of 2x10s that you need. And yeah, that's the price. There is no contractor pricing and that sort of thing. So I just wonder if a lot of the subcontractors got caught with the squeeze,
It could be.
I was just
I know
I
that
was gonna say $11 is $8.16 US. But for some reason,
Not bad.
yeah, YouTube every once in a while shows me like stories from the CBC, even though I'm not in Canada. I'm in the US, southern US, and y'all were talking about scams, talking about I just saw a video about the Mike Holmes scandal that they're having to tear his houses down. Yeah.
Yeah, CBC Marketplace, I think, is the show that covers it all. Pretty good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. They're having to completely tear his houses down. Yeah.
Everyone swore by that chap back then when those adverts were running in I don't know, I don't do TV, so I can't remember, Home and Garden Show or something like that?
HGTV. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, HGTV. He used to be on, and then they moved him to DIY here in the U.S. The DIY channel. His home, what is it? Homes knows best. Homes something. Make homes right or something like that.
It's gotten to the point now, man, if you even want to buy a car, you need to be accompanied by legal representation.
Yeah,
I guess.
really. Lawyers or something. Have them follow you to the dealership.
And so they can get their cut too.
Yeah.
You guys don't trust those super nice people that work at the car dealership? They're so nice.
Oh wow.
No, I will say I have a longtime friend who's at a car dealership, and I do trust him, but it's only because I've known him for like going on decades. So, and I can call him out. But yeah, that's exciting stuff. So Swift, I don't know if you're still there, but I'm interested. I'm hopefully you're gonna do come back and tell me how that gateway works out for you. You put a link in the chat on that machine that looks very interesting, and I'm hoping that maybe we can come back and tell us how it's going. If you installed what you installed, if it's going to be soulless or whatnot. So, Chris, thank you very much for being here. We did
Thank
not
you.
we did not beat you up about your computer hardware choices or even that you used the lady tubes and whatnot.
Mhm.
So,
Oh yeah.
but yeah,
Thank you. Thank you.
thanks for being here.
Thank
Pink-
you.
Penguin, nice to see you again.
It's good to see everybody again.
Glad you're you seem to be doing well. So thanks for being here.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. And I'm getting back to the channel now.
Yep. Oh, good. Good.
Finally. But things are going to be changing
Okay.
on that channel. So
That's one thing you can count on life is change. Change and
Yep.
paying taxes.
Yep,
Brian,
exactly.
good to see you again. Glad you could make it.
Well, thanks.
Yeah.
Yep. I was like, oh man, I can make it to the show tonight. Here I am.
Happy about that. Thank you very much for being here. Anything exciting going on that you're chomping at the bit? I know you how's that banana pie working out for you? Is it banana pie?
Dude, yeah. I got a banana pie R3. That thing, I don't know, it has like 180 days of uptime right now.
Wow.
Wow.
Solid. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yep. Works pretty well. I did accidentally fill up the SD card on it yesterday while trying to update the kernel, but that's okay.
These things happen.
Yeah, it happens. Not that big of a deal.
Yeah. Well, very cool. Jinda, glad you could be here.
Thanks, brother.
Yep. And good luck with that Surface RT.
Oh, thanks.
Yep.
And Colin, we're gonna miss you for the next couple months, but hopefully it gets resolved a lot quicker. Maybe you can pick up a paint roller and help him out.
Yeah. Be nice if I could.
Are there rules about that? I don't know. I don't know how Australia works.
No, you can't. Yeah, you're not allowed in.
Really?
Only if the supervisor's at the house, they can let you in because it's. You can go in the house when it's getting built, but once it gets to lock up, you can't get in unless the supervisor allows you access. So, which is fair enough.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a security. You don't want people going in there and wrecking the place.
Right.
So,
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Terry, glad you could be here.
Oh, thanks.
So, hope MX is still working out for you. You're still using MX, right?
Yep, MX Linux.
Yep. Very cool. Well, thanks for being here. So thank you so much. Tomorrow morning, if you want to check out Steve's very own, he does a live morning stream at 8:15 a.m. Central. Sometimes it's 8:30. Sometimes, it slides a little bit. Like everything with Steve at his age, everything's sliding. So,
Oh
man.
Oh dang.
Oof.
Hey man, I'm not far behind him,
None
As
of us
I
are.
apply my cold pack on my knee.
Yeah. Yeah, my lower back's been killing me today, but that's a whole other topic. If you have not checked out Linux User Space, it's a great podcast. They do all kinds of breakdowns on Linux history and the important pieces of software that we used day in and day out. So check that out, linuxuserspace.show. I'm on a podcast called Linux Out Loud. We just published one this week. Matt skipped out, which was unfortunate, but Wendy and I had a pretty darn decent conversation. I have a website called cubiclenate.com. I just published a couple things. One of the something about a tool that came in handy this week called DU, and there's ways you can use it to get how much space there is. If you're stuck in terminal, you have no other tools but the terminal. It's a great way to track down what's chopping up all your disk space. So it's very handy. So sometimes I publish things. I also did another article on KRFB. It's basically for Wayland. It's a VNC server for running a system with Wayland. Works really well, and I really like how the whole portal system works. It's pretty cool. So you can check that out too if you want. cubiclenate.com. So Linux Saloon is part of the Tux Digital Network. Check out more great shows at tuxdigital.com. I want to thank you all for your support. However you do it, being a part of the conversation in both the Zoom meeting or your comments in the YouTube, kind of guiding our conversation here. It's pretty awesome. And also thank you for all those that watch the show after the fact. I think everyone involved in making the Linux open source tools possible for us to not only have this conversation, but also to have fun and enjoy our technology. Linux truly puts personal back into personal computer. Thank you for stopping by. Be sure to tip your developers, and please remember to Linux responsibly. Until next time, see you.
Bye.
Make sure you say bye to Colin. We won't see him for a while.
Bye, Colin.
Bye, Colin.
Bye, Colin.
Yeah.
Hey, Mike.
Hope you find your dad.